Tennessee self-defense laws and use of deadly force, always a hot topic, always something people want to talk about and know more about. So that's what I want to discuss today. In Tennessee, of course, we have self-defense laws and situations in which you can use deadly force. My office here is in Memphis. That's where I practice a lot. I practice in many jurisdictions, but a lot of my work is in Memphis. I live right outside of Memphis, and it's no secret if you live around here that Memphis and Shelby County has a lot of crime, has a lot of violent crime, and we also have a lot of gun owners, people who own guns in their home for protection, people who carry guns. If you have a valid handgun carry permit, carry a pistol on your person, or you keep a gun in your car when you're out and about. So those are situations in which a gun owner or somebody might have access to a gun in your home or on your person when you're out and about, concealed, or in your car. Okay, so you have lawful gun owners, but also potentially a lot of violent crime, and those are gonna, clash pretty regularly, it turns out. So knowing your self-defense laws and when you can use deadly force in Tennessee is very important. The law in Tennessee is basically like this. To use deadly force, shooting somebody, you have to have a reasonable belief of imminent danger to yourself or another person. And the danger or the threat has to be death or serious bodily injury. Those three things. You've got to have a reasonable belief that this is about to happen. A reasonable means objective, not subjective, not what I personally feel. What would a reasonable person in this situation feel? Another way of looking at it is, how would a jury feel about this? Okay, if a jury is looking at you and judging your actions afterward, would they find it to be a reasonable belief? So it's got to be reasonable or objective and not subjective. It's got to be an imminent danger, immediate, about to happen right now. And that level has to be pretty high. It's got to be death or serious bodily injury to yourself or another person. You've got to be in a place where you're allowed to be and that you're not committing a crime. Those also are requirements. Now, so if you meet those, then that is legal use of deadly force in Tennessee. You have to be able to articulate, or the facts of the situation have to show that that's the case. Now, in certain situations, you have a benefit given to you by the law. If you are in your home or your dwelling, or the area around your home, front porch, driveway, if you're in your business, or if you're in your car, okay, home or dwelling, business or car, if you're in any of those places, you are presumed to have that reasonable belief of imminent danger, threat of death or serious bodily injury. You have a legal presumption. You are presumed to be in fear for your life if you're in your home or your car. Now, that presumption can be overcome, again, if the facts of the case show it. But right off the bat, if you're in your home or your car or in one of those situations, then you have that benefit given to you by the law. You have that legal presumption. Okay, because your home is considered kind of a sacred place, and it's also now been expanded to your car. There are some exceptions to that. If the person against whom force is used, if the person you shot, also has a right to be there, it depends on the situation. There are some exceptions to that, but that's basically the law. When can I use deadly force to protect myself? That's it right there, what I've just described in Tennessee. Now, there are situations where, these are such fact-intensive cases. Whether it's justified or not, is going to depend on the facts, and tiny little facts can make a huge difference. So it really has to be looked at on, a case-by-case basis. So many little facts can change the outcome. People ask me, if I have to use a gun to protect myself, if I shoot somebody, what do I do next? Well, the police are going to get there, right? Somebody's been shot, possibly killed. If there's a dead body lying on the ground, whether it's in a parking lot or in your driveway or on your front porch, the police are going to arrive and they're going to want to know what happened. They're going to want to question you. Should you talk? Generally in videos past, and pretty much every time talking to a client or a prospective client, I say it's usually never a good idea to talk to the police, because they're better at it than you are, and your words can get twisted around. It's just better not to talk to the police. This situation might be an exception. Again, it really kind of depends on the facts. But think about it this way: if the police show up and you shot somebody, you might be the only witness, right? You might be the only one to say what happened. There could be evidence there that only you know about. Maybe something, there's a gun in the bushes or something like that. Of course, there's a good chance there's going to be some video somewhere. We see that a lot. Later on, afterward, a video shows up, either somebody's cell phone or a security camera or something. So there's probably a good chance there's going to be some video of it somewhere. But if there's not, then you may be the only one. So should you talk to the police? It's hard to, I tell people, if you don't want to talk to the police, you can tell them that. You can say, I don't want to talk. I want to talk to a lawyer first. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea to just say, I'd like to talk to an attorney first before I answer any of your questions. But understand, you may be the only live witness to this. You may have information that they need to know right now. So, it's going to be kind of a judgment call on your part. And if it happens at 2 o'clock in the morning, you're probably not going to be able to get in touch with me, right then and there. You can get in touch with me the next morning, first thing, sure. But that's something that you need to think about, and the situation itself will dictate what you should do. But it may not be a good idea to just clam up. I tell people essentially that's what you want to do with the police, is clam up, because you could get tricked into saying something you didn't mean to say. But if you defended yourself in justifiable self-defense, it may not be a bad idea to talk to them and tell them what happened, and that could save you a trip to jail, right? If you sit there and say nothing and say, I'm not saying a thing, then the police are just going to have to look at the situation and they decide what happened, and they may decide that you have to go to jail that night. Now, eventually, you may get cleared, charges may get dropped, but if you can save yourself a trip to jail at 3 o'clock in the morning, might not be a bad idea. Again, but just keep those things in mind that I talked about. You've got to have an objective, reasonable belief that you're in immediate fear for your life, or the life of somebody else. That is the use of self-defense, the self-defense law in Tennessee in a nutshell. It's pretty cut and dry. It's pretty cut and dry. There are so many what-ifs and situations we can talk about. There have been cases in Memphis and really all across the country where poor judgment was used. If you have to like go get your gun and come back and shoot the person, it's probably not going to be a good shoot. All right, because that negates the immediacy of it. It's got to be immediate. It's got to be right now. If you had time to go get your gun and come back, you had time to leave. It would have been better to leave. Or if the person is way over there, if they're way far away, they're not an immediate threat. Things like that. There are all kinds of hypotheticals and what ifs, but these are also examples from real life, and we see this in real life. Okay, so keep that in mind. What I've talked about today. and just be safe out there. Use good judgment, okay? Owning a gun, carrying a gun is a big responsibility. And remember my name, okay? I'm a Memphis criminal lawyer, and if you need to talk to a lawyer, whether it's right then, that second when it happened, or the next day, give me a call. Thanks for watching.